Welcome to More Based Off, where reactions are based on facts, commentary is based on experience, and every opinion is rooted in real talk. If you enjoy honest conversations, hit like, subscribe, and let's get into it.
Welcome to the place where the truth comes first. Breaking down the headlines, separating facts from the worst. No fear, no bias, no agenda to hide. Just real conversations from the other side. Hollywood lights, street stories, what's really going on? We ask the tough questions long after the hype is gone. Different perspectives, every voice is a shot. Because real discussion is something this world forgot. If you've got an opinion, don't keep it inside. Pull up to the...
What's up, Hollywood besties? Alan Thompson here with More Based Off. Hey, y'all, didn't we have a great live last night? It was our second official live, and y'all showed up. Y'all turned up. We talked about all of the latest on Atlanta Street interviews and all of the craziness with the live that Marcus dropped. And then we went on and we talked about whatever we wanted to talk about, because that's what we do on this channel. You know, we talk about whatever the latest happenings are, which right now is with Atlanta Street interviews, and then whatever y'all want to talk about is what we talk about. But today, let's talk about the latest video now that Marcus has dropped on Atlanta Street interviews. So Iliana and Tone are back. Now back to the content, or is it now back to the nonsense? I'm like, man, oh man, it's like, you know, he's trying to find content wherever he can at this point, right? You know, so supposedly it was a random encounter at a gas station. You know, oh, they just magically appeared at this gas station that Marcus so happened to be at. You know, now I don't buy any of the BS with any of this stuff. You know, I was always the one that was like, oh, no, this ain't scripted. None of it is scripted. It's not scripted. But now, yeah, okay, they just randomly are at this gas station. So happened, you know, because I guess it's another makeover Monday, and Marcus so happened to be at this gas station right by you know, Miss Wanda Salon, and Iliana and Tone just so happen to be at the same gas station. Oh, wow, it's a reunion. Okay, right, whatever. Let's start from the end, though. At the end, Marcus, once he leaves and he goes back to the Miss Wanda's, because I guess they're doing a makeover for the chick Tank, the lesbian girl. And so when he goes back, he says that, yeah, you know, well, this will be over when God says it's over. You know, he's talking to us, you know, he's by himself in his Jeep. And he says, you know, but no, y'all not going to make it out to be something that's not, you know, no, you know, like I'm victimizing anybody. You know, it's just a clerical error. You know, and at this point, I really am just flabbergasted at the fact that Marcus still is just trying to go around the issue of what he has done. And the fact that he can still just try to make excuses for the obvious of what we all know and what we see is going on, he's going to deserve everything that's coming to him, so far as whatever judgment in a court of law that comes against him, he's going to deserve it at this point. Because to be a man and not be able, you know, first of all, if you know, are guilty of whatever it is, just keep your mouth shut. Don't say anything then. But to continually come on your platform and to continue to, you know, try to prove your innocence, you're doing the opposite. You know, this is the thing that is so ignorant about Marcus at this point, is that he's so ignorant that he thinks by talking about how he's not guilty, it will make him seem not guilty. But it's doing the exact opposite. Because again, if you didn't do anything wrong, you wouldn't have to explain yourself if you didn't do anything wrong. And you're saying a clerical error. First of all, we already know it's no paperwork involved. There's no IDs involved or checking IDs or anything like that. So this whole notion of, oh, it's just a simple clerical error, you know, that's a major clerical error to make, you know, but it's just all nonsense at this point. You know, it's like, just shut up at this point. Because again, it's the woe is me, and, you know, Y'all not going to try to make me out to be this or that. But it's your own guilt speaking when you make these statements because you know what you've done and you know that you victimize people. And not only in this case, that's what you've been doing, and it's clear as day. So my advice to you would be to shut up. Shut up. Like, it's just like don't say anything else because at this point it's not helping your case and it's just showing your level of arrogance and to me it's just pitiful for a grown man to not be able to take accountability for their actions. It's just really showing how you've just never grown up, and it's sad. It really, really is sad. And to be honest with you, it's disappointing because Marcus, the thing is you had something that you could have made into a great thing with a platform like you had, and you grew your platform to thousands and thousands of followers. You had a platform where you could have been doing good for the homeless, and you could have been doing things that really were helping them, and you've allowed it to end in this way. And yeah, I'm already going to predict it and say it in that way. You're allowing it to end like this because this is not going to last for you, you know. Um, because the thing about it is, you have to be truthful with yourself. It's not about being truthful with us because you keep trying to convince everybody that you're not this bad guy. You didn't do this. You didn't do that. You need to tell yourself the truth. Otherwise, this is it for you. This is not going to last. Even watching this video today with Iliana and Tone, it's a bunch of nothing. It's the same old we've known with them. Um, and yeah, it's some kind of like who cares at this point with any of this stuff, but you can't do the spicy content anymore. And even the way you interviewed them, you're very careful with the way you interviewed them. It's fake because we know the way you treated Tone all of these years, outing him, trying to get him to reveal certain business about himself so far as his sexuality. And we saw that for years, you doing that to that young man. And I always say, that's one thing when you are dealing with young men, especially young black men, especially with the sexuality part, and you're trying to get him to reveal that to the world and trying to out him, things like that. It's like, young men commit suicide because of their struggles with things like that. And I saw you do that to him for years, and it was wrong. It was just wrong. So again, it's not just the current situation of what you've done to victimize somebody. You've been doing this with people you interview. And then it's like when they don't want to be bothered with you anymore, they're the problem. But no, you are the problem. And that's what this time is trying to show you of what's going on right now. It's trying to show you that you have been the problem. But you keep putting the blame on other people and this is not who I am. And, and then until you can admit who you are and what you've done, you're not going to be able to correct the problem. And you're going to have to suffer the consequences of not wanting to take accountability for your actions. So, yeah. So, in this interview, it was so funny. At one part, this bird literally like attacked Marcus. And he's like, "Oh man, what's up with this bird?" And I'm like, "Yeah, nature knows. Animals are very sensitive and intuitive in that way. And they'll come in to send you messages. And that bird, that bird is trying to let your ass know, get right, like get yourself together." Like you were like, "Oh, is it from a past life?" You said he said something about it being from a past life, and some type of joke he was trying to make. But I'm like, "Yeah, that bird attacking you because that bird know." It's like, yeah, yeah, you I know the deal, but I thought that was extremely uh ironic that that bird attacked him during that video. you know, it was like, what in the world? Like that bird know what's up. It's like, yeah, get away from them. Stop victimizing these people. But yeah, of course they talk about the paternity test, which that's been being talked about with Iliana and Tone for their son. So I guess finally that's going to happen. But Iliana and Tone, they just come back around when whatever, get a little bit of money, and they'll be off the scene again. And but like I said, the main thing for me at this point is, man, Marcus, you're going out sad. I mean, and you just keep making excuses. You know, it was a clerical error. Okay, let's see how that works out for you. And I'm not trying to, shame Marcus or be on this Marcus hate train or anything like that, but it's like, man, come on, dude. You going out bad. You going out bad. It's just honestly for me, it's sad to see. Because like I said, for years I watched the channel and I enjoyed the content. But to see what is happening now, look, if you hear this, Marcus, the only thing I'll tell you, get real with yourself. Tell yourself the truth. That's the only thing that's gonna save you. It still might not save you from the consequences and whatever price you might have to pay, but it will lessen the blow for sure. But the way you're not taking accountability now, that's not going to be good for you. Take accountability for your actions. Be a man. You always tell all these other young men about how to be a man, and you preach to them. Time to take your own advice. This is Alan Thompson, more based off.
Thanks for watching
Like, comment,
More
share,
Based
subscribe.
Off.
Let's talk about it
If
in
you
the
enjoyed
comments. Turn
today's
on that
video,
notification
please
bell.
like,
What do y'all think?
subscribe, comment,
What do
and
y'all
share
think
this
about
video
today's
with someone who
video?
would enjoy it too.
How do you think this
Your
is gonna
support
end,
helps
Marcus?
to grow the channel.
Let's talk about it.
If you'd like to
All right,
support
y'all.
the channel even
Enjoy your
further,
Monday.
my Cash App is on the screen.
Conversations from
Thanks
the
for
other
watching,
side,
and
Hollywood
I'll see you
lights,
in the
streets.
next one.